I'm Amy, sex educator, sex and relationship coach, and co-owner of PurePleasureShop.com.
And I'm April, sex toy maven, VP of Hot Octopus, and I've dedicated my life to the business of sex. We're two people with a passion for educating and inspiring shame-free conversations about sex and relationships. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com, and for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSSEX at PurePleasureShop.com.
You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Shameless Sex Podcast. You know I like to paint the picture a little bit. So today, we live in Santa Cruz, right? It's like 100 degrees.
It is 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
So if
you're in a place where centigrade is... It's not 43.
Well, for us Santa
degrees.
Cruzians, it's nuts. And so we are recording in bathing suits outside in the sun. So if you hear some outside sounds like an airplane, a dog barking, some breeze in the air, well, you know, that's just nature. And we just, wanted to soak up some sun while we talk about... What are we talking about today?
It's urban nature, by the way, because we're not in the forest.
Oh, sorry. Urban nature. I see three. I see at least 4 trees.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But guess what we are talking about today, which I can't believe I didn't get as excited as I am about saying this, because it is Jerk Off July.
Woo! April actually coined this, by the way. Maybe someone else said it before, but she was like, why don't we celebrate? So we kind of forgot Masturbation May.
We didn't forget. We didn't honor it as much because it's kind of blown out. Everybody talks about Masturbation May, and we are thankful for that. Yes. But Jerk Off July, this is my birthday month as well.
Ooh.
And I think jerking off is so fucking awesome. Masturbation, aka jerking off, you can
self-pleasure.
Think about it however you want. Self-pleasure.
So we're turning July into Jerk Off July. This episode is probably likely being aired a couple days after April's 40th birthday, where she will probably be jerking off a lot because it'll be on a girl's trip and she'll have her own room where she'll be baiting there to celebrate.
Will you send me
40.
a text message to remind me to bring some sex toys? Because I always forget to pack sex toys on trips. I have no idea why. I forget. Because usually I have my sales kit with sex toys. And so I'm like,
So I don't know if I've said this in the podcast before, but I've shared this with people. One of my key tricks, sorry TSA, is whether I'm going to use a sex toy or not. When I'm traveling, I want to check things in, but not have them search my bag. Not that I have anything bad in there, by the way, but I just want to deal with it. Maybe I have some things.
Your knives and
my knives. I know, like a nail clipper. And so I put a vibrator right on the top, not even in any sort of bag or anything, right on the top of my suitcase. So if it gets pulled, there's a sex toy right there. It's not like a big veiny cock or anything, but they're like, what's that? And I just say like, oh, that's a sex toy. And then they usually don't want to search the rest of my bag. Just saying. Mm-hmm. So maybe,
or they do,
or they're like, where'd you get that?
Like,
PurePleasureShop.com, of course. So, okay. Masturbation, self-pleasure, baiting, we like to call it. We also call it baiting, jerking off, circle jerk. Well, that's when you're like with a whole bunch of people jerking.
Comes from, right?
What's baiting?
That was the movie Idiocracy, Mike Judge film. It's kind of older, from the early 2000s.
I remember it, yeah.
When Dax Shepard's in it. Fucking love you, Dax Shepard.
He goes on podcast.
And he does Armchair Expert, great podcast. And it's the future, and everyone drinks Gatorade, and pretty much there's no living things. And they sit on armchairs that recline, and they don't have to go to the toilet, and they just watch people farting and doing things, and it's called baiting. And he's like, get out of here, I'm biting. That's where it comes
from. Are they actually touching themselves?
No, there's nothing to do with masturbation.
Oh,
it's called baiting for some reason. That's where I got it from. Yes.
Yeah, that's why we like to say baiting for short, for masturbate. Well, so the interesting thing about masturbation is, I believe kind of the original term for masturbation comes from the concept of to sin with one's own hand. And I don't have all the stats or information on this, and I'm not a historian around masturbation or sexuality, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of terrible shit used to go down around masturbation, especially in the Victorian era, to try to prevent people from masturbation, because there were beliefs that they thought it would all of a sudden make you sick or die or evil, or it was the devil trying to get into you. And so they would do all kinds of terrible things, including devices on young people's penises to prevent them from masturbating. So while we say masturbation, we are not talking about it as sinning with your own hand. Unless you get off on sinning, then sin away. We're talking about self-pleasure, intending to your own body and all of the ways that you can do that. We'll share plenty of ideas and tips and tricks, whether you already got your baiting game down or you maybe are new to it and haven't figured out your body. So what are some of the many ways?
I just want to tell you, because I'm Jamie in this podcast.
Hey, Jamie.
So it's derived from Latin.
Oh.
And it means defiling oneself.
Oh, defiled.
And it's manus is hand and stupere, defile oneself. So that's where masturbation comes from.
So basically, since humans have been on this earth for many years, they've always been defiling themselves?
Well, this term was from the 1620s.
Oh, yes. Because, I mean, so okay, let's talk about the many ways that people masturbate, right? So there are people that, we'll talk about sex toys, we'll talk about hands and all these things, but a lot of people are using their own hands, but some people are rubbing against things. April has a good story to share about that in a little bit. Sometimes people grind against couches. There's so many ways that people self-pleasure. I mean, I would imagine back in the day, people were rubbing against trees, whatever you could find to gyrate your genitals on, and it felt good. It was done and has been done. And young people, by the way, like people under age 5, a lot of them start to do it just on their own naturally, and we'll get into our stories in a little bit. But it's so interesting that it's to defile one's body, and yet it's such a, I wouldn't say natural, but I hate the word natural, but like part of being a human.
Right. For some folks don't masturbate until they reach either an age where they're starting to understand. We've recorded with someone who, August, who never masturbated. And remember, we talked about masturbation on that podcast.
Oh, the Girl Boner podcast.
Yes, the Girl Boner podcast. And that it's really, for me, because I only know my experiences, I never realized what I was doing would be
Let's just go into the
pleasure.
Experiences now, and then we'll move to the reasons why it's good for you, because you're already on that one. I want to hear. So what were your first experiences with baiting?
Well, I didn't really ever know anything about my body. I took baths with my brother, so he had a penis, right? And until I was about 7. So taking baths, I didn't understand the genitals. But what I did understand was that I got this bear as a present. It was a soft, stuffed teddy bear when I was 5.5, Christmas. And I opened this box, loved this bear, and I would sleep with it every night. And at some point, I started putting it between my legs, I think for comfort. And then I started humping this bear, and her name was Barry. She had a flannel dress and was very, very precious to me. But I didn't ever understand that what I was doing was masturbation, and that carried over into years and years and years. And I would do it. I never tried in front of my family, but I remember touching myself in front of my mom and her saying, no, that's no, you don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah. So I had a different upbringing around that, where my understanding about sex was that it's not shameful, but I wasn't really taught about like the pleasurable sides of it. Like no one taught me how to masturbate, that, these are the ways to access your body and your clitoris and your genitals and how to have orgasms, because most people aren't taught that. And even though I got a lot of the like more progressive upbringing, that sex was not shameful and is okay, and you don't have to wait till marriage, and it's not just for procreation.
How old were you when you started speaking with your mom about sex? You didn't speak with your dad, right? Was it mostly your mom?
Yeah, just mom. But so the conversation was more about protection. It was more like she took me to a gynecologist way before I was sexually active. I think just to have the experience of what it was like to go to a gynecologist.
Did you have your period? Were you like 12?
I think I had my. Let's see. Yeah, I had my period at that point, I believe. No, I was so probably 14, because I didn't get my period until I was 14. But then, I didn't actually have penetrative sex until I was 16. When I was younger, for masturbation for me, I didn't think it was a bad thing. I knew that there was this part of my body I was curious about, but I didn't really know how to explore it. So I would like check it out and was more interested in like the smells and the textures, but I never checked it out. It just never came to me to like check out in the way of exploring pleasure. And I wasn't ashamed. It just never came to me. Now, coming from the girl who would like, dry hump her own bed, but like not to orgasm, and would make out with remember my shower wall, that story I told Billy Procida, he used to do it too.
Oh yeah.
I used to make out in the shower with the wall to practice making out and have fantasies in the shower, but it wasn't about my genitals though. So you
wouldn't touch yourself and make out with the wall. It was just making out with the wall and
just making out with the
how to
wall
kiss.
and like having a fantasy in my head about some guy I had a crush on at 14, and I hope that wall was clean. My mom is a pretty clean person. So yeah. So they come in all different shapes and forms. And so in this way, we have different examples where I wasn't shamed for masturbating, but I didn't really masturbate. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't have been shamed for it. April had more, was baiting from age 5, but did receive the shame. And we are not parents, and yet what we have learned from so many educators, therapists, authors, accredited individuals is the best thing to do when you're young people, your children, if you're a parent, are self-pleasuring is to let them know that it's okay, natural, healthy, and it's something that they can do, in the privacy of their own room or their own space or the bathroom, wherever. But it's their own private space, so not something to be doing out in in the grocery store, in the living room, but letting them know it's okay. Like it's totally okay to just keep this in this other place because this is just precious for you.
This is why I love I'm 39, almost 40. I love being I bear witness to my friends that are mothers, and a lot of them with the children, how they speak to pleasure and masturbation to their kids impresses me, because I feel like if I had those conversations, and we're talking about younger kids, like one of my friends, her daughter is almost 5 and starting to want to explore her vulva, and the way that she speaks to her about it, it's incredible because she's just like, it's your body, and I've witnessed it, and I'm like, I love this because she's like, it's your body, this is your pleasure, and that you can do and explore the things that you want to do and do that in your own space, because you and I are going to be eating dinner together, and your dad and I don't want to watch you having your fun with yourself right now while we're eating dinner.
And then it's also a consent issue because like when you're out on the streets, like other people might not want to be watching you like rubbing your genitals all over the place.
When you're 5, you're like, what's consent?
I don't understand.
So she's like, okay, I'll go to my room.
And then next step would be, when they're a little older, you start to explain more about like, what are you learning about your body? And they'll be like, shut up, Mom, just stop talking to me. But also like, here's a book that can teach you about your body and your pleasure. There's a great book called, I think we already talked about in a past podcast, called SEX, sex, so like SEX, and it's a great book to give to teenagers and even people in their young 20s to learn about sex. And as a parent doing that, especially when you're seeing someone baiting and you're like, I don't know how to talk about this. A 5-year-old can't read this book, by the way, but we're talking now like a 13-year-old. Now you're like, here you go. You're about to venture into this. Maybe you already have. Maybe your friends are already having sex. I don't know, but I feel like get that information sooner than later.
One thing last piece I want to share, that because I've worked with Hot Octopuss now for 5+ years, and before that Fun Factory, and when I started working with Hot Octopuss, they primarily make masturbators for penis owners, and I would meet dudes because I would be traveling around talking about these sex toys, and they're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, well, I work for this company called Hot Octopuss. We make masturbators that are for penises, and they're like, why does someone need
that
a masturbator?
Why would I need that?
And they're like, I have 5 fingers in a hand, and I was like, well, let me just tell you, I have 5 fingers as well. It also is a new era where you can walk everywhere, but you choose to drive because you get there maybe a little faster and more in style. So there's masturbators to help you get where you want to go.
The possibilities are endless for the many ways you can masturbate, and we will talk about sex toys in a little bit. But before we do that, April, in your opinion, when you masturbate and from your knowledge, why do you think masturbation is really good for people to like to actually either masturbate, have a daily or weekly practice, or just bait here and there, bait every day, whatever they're doing, or even going back to like learning about masturbation at a young age, or to developing a more hardcore masturbation practice? What are the benefits?
Well, there's a lot of scientific research that's involved in masturbation, but I won't go there because I think what I've experienced is my masturbation practice has helped me learn what I enjoy, the sensations I like to feel on my body, whether it's a vibrator or a hand. Also, how I can feel my orgasms rising or the actual pleasure of my hormones starting to be stimulated where I want to kind of explode with my pleasure. That is all because of how I'm able to gauge myself with self-practice, self-pleasure, and exploring my body and learning about the changes that happen all the time. Masturbation helps me learn more about where I'm at in my life, that I'm not 19 anymore. I'm not 25 anymore. And I can actually explore the internals and the externals of my body in a way that isn't just with a partner in a sexual experience when there's heightened emotions or there's heightened experiences. It's on my own. And it's actually really cool to just do the mirror work, which I never did. I had a lot of shame around my pussy and the way it looked because of I had a sex accident when I was 17 where my labia, the outer labia was torn in half and I had to get stitched up. So it was really hard for me to look at my pussy for a long time because of there's scarring, and now I don't even see anything. But the shame that can be involved in the way your genitals look, if you don't love the way you look, masturbation has actually helped me love every piece of my vulvas.
It's like a celebration of you, and hence why sometimes we call it masturbation practice. I mean, so some people, they're baiting because it gives them a sense of relief. Oh, that's a lot of penis owners too, especially. They're like, all right, I just need to get this release out, get some of that prostate fluid and some of that semen out, and so that I have this nice release. Now I feel more relaxed. So for some people, it could even feel like a chore or a job because they are feeling like they need that relaxation. For some people, it is just about self-discovery, like you're talking about, and I think that's a really helpful process for anyone who's curious about whether you don't fully understand your body or your orgasms, or you don't know how to communicate them to your partners. The more you discover your own body on your own, because it's your job to share that with other people. They're not psychic, and well, some people are psychic, I guess, but most of the people I've been with are not psychic. And so the more you know, the more you can share.
Why do you think it's good for you?
Well, also the endorphins that it produces. When we recorded the other day, remember I was like on cloud 9 and had a whole bunch of energy because I had 2 orgasms before recording.
But not from that was from a sexual experience, right?
It was a sexual experience with a vibrator on my clit. And, you can call masturbation, even though I was having penetrative sex, which heightens, my favorite sex, by the way, is penetrative sex with also combined clitoral stimulation, especially with a vibrator. But just those endorphins from orgasm, they really enhance your life. So there's a lot of great things. And for me personally, it's just, I'm really grateful to be in a place to know my body, like you were saying. And in the past, when people ask, what do you like? What do you want? No clue, because I hadn't explored it. I had spent so many years just not diving down that road. And now through my own practices and sexual experiences with other people, I can actually share. I really like this. I don't like this. I like a lot of that. I don't like a lot of that, but maybe a little of that, or we can try this because of my exploration. So
yeah,
it's really helpful.
Nailed it. I want to share something that I don't know if I've ever shared with you, and it's really brief because it's something that I had to work on, and I think this podcast and working in the sex toy industry has really helped me. But I had so much shame around masturbation orgasm for years of my life because I thought I was doing something wrong, and sometimes it carries over even now where I'm like, oh, I just masturbated and I just orgasmed. Oh, I feel kind of bad, and then I was like, wait, no, it's okay. Orgasm a good thing. And I don't know if anyone else out there has ever experienced that.
We got a sex question about that.
Did we? Okay.
And I think it's going in our book actually, maybe possibly. Because I remember Layla Martin saying when you masturbate, if you have shame around it, to maybe envision a whole party of people celebrating you as you do it. They're like, yeah, cheering you on.
But I mean, this is 20 years of conditioning for me to feel the guilt of orgasm, which also I never was able to. Now, thankfully, I wasn't able to orgasm in partner play because I was so conditioned to think that the only way to have an orgasm was through masturbation. So all of these pieces, though, are they're ways to exemplify how your body and your mind can work together to create any scenario that you want. And I no longer have the guilt after I orgasm from masturbation, but it's a funny, not ha-ha, but funny thing that I was feeling that way for so many years.
Well, and so many,
it was bad.
A lot of people have shame around so many. Pretty much everyone has a little bit of shame or trauma around sexuality in some way, shape, or form. And this is a great example of how different we all are. And in a bit, not guys. Oh my God, did I just say guys?
Hey, gays.
Y'all. Hey, y'all. Just in a bit. So we're going to talk about ways to learn how to up your baiting game, sex toys for masturbation, also mutual masturbation. But I am sweating like a sweaty McBeagleson. I have like that puddle on my belly from the sweat. So we are going to take a commercial break from our lovely sponsors as we go into a cooler place because I'm about to die.
It's hot out here.
Hey, y'all. So I guested on the Feeling Lighter podcast with Dr. Lisa and Katie, and I wanted to share more about their WeShape offering because I absolutely love what they are doing.
I listened. I wasn't there, but I loved it too. And we get so many emails from people who are wanting to learn to love their bodies. And WeShape is the perfect solution for them. It's all about feeling comfortable in your body while letting go of the societal BS, that's bullshit, about how you should change it.
Heck yes, girl. And we would explain more to you, but instead, we're going to let Katie, one of the founders, do it in a more succinct way. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Katie, the co-founder at WeShape. We are a fitness app taking a radically different approach and paving a new path in the fitness industry. Our primary goal is to focus on people's physical and mental well-being. So we've created a product with workouts that are rooted in quality movement and connection with the body. We have a technology that has real-time customization that can meet you exactly where you are. We also believe that all movement counts, which is why we also offer stretching routines that take as little as 10 minutes. And as a means of addressing our mental well-being, WeShape offers daily community calls with various coaches that create a safe and judgment-free space with the primary goal of acknowledging that everyone has the right to accept and love their body just as it is, and that we don't need to meet societal standards to feel valued. So if you're ready to shift how you feel in your body and about your body, WeShape is here for you. Check us out at WeShape.com/shameless for 35% off today.
Calling all couples who are feeling like your relationship, especially the sexual connection, has lost its spark, is just so-so, or maybe you're feeling stuck or in a rut. Wah, wah, wah. Well, first off, you are completely normal and not alone. This is super common in long-term relationships. Second, there's hope. Maybe you've thought about seeking out support from a coach or therapist, but for whatever reason, aren't feeling ready to take that leap. Never fear, Shameless Sex is here. The book, I mean. While our latest book, Shameless Sex, Choose Your Own Pleasure Path to Unlock the Sex Life You've Been Waiting For, is for everyone, it's specifically geared towards couples who are looking to go from so-so to great in the bedroom and beyond. Written in a playful and fun choose-your-own-adventure style, we give you a simple framework with customized solutions to give you the right tools for the sex and relationships you desire, meaning you just might find your way to sexy pleasure and connection town without the time and cost of hiring a therapist for under $30. Plus, buying the book supports us and shows us you love us, so that's a bonus too. Testimonials are coming in left and right as to how this book helped people just like you create or recreate the sex life of their dreams. And you can too. Grab your hardcover copy or audio version now at shamelesssex.com. And we're back, but now we're inside. It's a little cooler. We're on different microphones, so if it sounds a little different.
Hot,
I'm still sweating like a sweaty McBeagleson over here.
Me too.
I am, hydrating up a storm, and I wish maybe masturbation helps. Maybe we should have a bait session. No, that's not why we left to go bait, but maybe that.
Do you get hot after you orgasm from masturbation, or do you cool off?
let's see. Just masturbation, not sex?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think my temperature changes that much.
I feel like I always get a flash of heat and then I relax.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Like, what is relax? Like the fall asleep thing where like, oh, you need a pastrami sandwich and you pass out?
Definitely not falling asleep. I get energized from orgasm in general. I just feel like when my temperature just raises. I've never actually taken my temperature.
Yeah.
However, I feel a little bit more heat in my body.
You should start putting a thermometer in your ass right after you masturbate.
It's not anal safe, a thermometer, Amy.
Wait, don't they have anal thermometers?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Really?
Don't they put thermometers in people's asses?
Yeah, but you have to hold on to it. If I'm by myself, I can't hold that in a vibrator.
Okay, I'll be there for you, and then I got you. All right, so we're back to the baiting game, everyone. We talked about our own experiences. We talked about masturbation practices and why they might be good for you, what masturbation means, many ways to masturbate, the diversity of masturbation, and now we're going to speak a little bit about how to up your baiting game. We love that term, baiting. So, in the world of baiting, by the way, we will not have all the answers because it is infinite and endless and everyone has their own way of doing this. We have been, for vulva owners particularly, we are huge fans of omgs.com and they've been a sponsor of our podcast for years. And we were watching their first season way before they were sponsored because it taught us and clients that I've worked with about various tools to use on the external vulva because a lot of folks have no idea. You watch porn, they're like, like grinding that thing. You try it in yourself and you're like, that does not feel that good. Why isn't that working on me? And so they actually did research studies with 20,000 plus people, I believe, from 18 to 90. Is that
I think 18 to 95.
Yeah, 18 to 95. And so they show you season 1's external techniques for vulva pleasure, season 2's internal, and then season 3 is with sex toys. And they haven't gotten to penises yet. And this isn't just about vulvas, this episode. But I just want to really honor the folks who maybe are new to masturbating or self-pleasuring, that you've tried touching yourself and you haven't really figured it out and it's not feeling like much is happening, which is a common thing. Remember we worked at Pure Pleasure back in the day? I don't know if you were there that day, but had a woman that came in who was 80, whose husband...
I was there.
Okay, and her husband had just died. They were married for 60 years.
And she had never had an orgasm.
And we sold her first vibrator. She was just about to masturbate for the first time, and she had never had an orgasm. It was incredible. So this, we'll talk about sex toys in a little bit, but, ways to up your masturbation game can come in different levels. For me personally, I'm someone who needs a regular practice to do this. So if I only once a week or twice a month have a masturbation or self-pleasure session when I'm trying to up it, right? I'm trying to increase my potential, to learn more. Okay, I have orgasms sometimes from my hands, but I really want to get this hand thing down and understand how they work on my body. If I were to just do it once a week or just when I felt like it wouldn't fucking happen. When I commit to doing this, maybe 3 days a week, maybe every day for 15 to 20 minutes a day, then I learn a lot more. And one key piece that's important for me is to go in it with a really open mind, not having a goal towards, I have to come, and more towards just pleasure. So kind of following the thread, and my hands are going all over these different places on my pussy, on my vulva, and just checking things out. Okay, if something feels good, I go with that. But these are my top tips that work for me really are when I'm trying to get deeper into my self-pleasure practice and understand more of that, I need a regular commitment, at least for a while. And I have to stay goalless, or my goal being about just discovery and presence. And then if I have an orgasm, it's a bonus.
I think that is a great advice piece to give. There's more research now about masturbation than there really ever has before. And I want to cover just a few of the things that some of the top studies say masturbation can do for humans, no matter what, if you're a penis owner or a vulva owner. However, as a vulva owner, when I get my period, it helps with cramps. If you masturbate, it can help alleviate cramps.
The opposite.
That's interesting.
So the contractions that have happened in my pelvic floor during orgasm when I had cramps actually made my cramps worse. But I've heard what you're saying. I've actually heard is true. I tried it and I was like, oh, things feel worse now.
Well, it also, so obviously everyone's so different.
Yeah, we're all
so
different.
if you do have cramps and you want to try to alleviate those,
might as well
try some masturbation. Anxiety, it can help you sleep better. It can actually help elevate the mood. There are studies that show it will help you live longer, more orgasms in general, which masturbation, if you don't have a goal, that's okay. But if you do orgasm for masturbation, you can help you live longer. We've talked about better sex. Of course, it helps you learn about your own body. You can actually sleep better, which I think I was trying to relate this because sometimes I get energized after sex and masturbation.
It depends on the session.
But then again, it just depends on the human. And there are a lot of folks out there that are able to sleep after they orgasm and they can sleep better.
Honestly, for me, so I'm using my vibrator on myself, we'll talk about sex toys in a bit. I have one orgasm and then I just let myself go to sleep. I can go to sleep. But if I go for 3, 4, 5, 6, then I'm all jazzed up and like now my sleep's fucked. That's just me, but we're all different.
And there's been a lot of, I think, myth around masturbation for a long time, especially with sex toys. I still hear people talking about it. You're addicted, or it's going to desensitize your genitals, or my clit will be burnt out because I used a vibrator too much. So this is not factual information, y'all. So especially when you're talking about sex toys, you will not be desensitized. It will not harm you in a sense unless you're into burning or some sort of
you like that
thing.
harm.
Right.
Yeah.
That may, or the piercing kind of thing. But a vibrator that you're putting on your genitals or inside of your body will not cause permanent damage or harm to your body. So it might desensitize you for a little while, but those nerve endings will come alive and will come back in no time.
Well, it's just the brain that shifts. The brain gets very used to something. So I'll bring this to like masturbation. So we're talking about sex toys, and we're going to talk about more sex toys in a minute, but bring it back to, let's talk about penises. So penis owners who start to masturbate at a young age, and they had to masturbate really fast and hard because someone was going to walk in the room, or they were watching porn, and porn, everything's fast and hard. So a lot of penis owners are taught the way you wank is fast and hard, and your initial experiences with sex or pleasure with yourself, especially, but also with others, they hang out with you. They create what's called a neural pathway in your brain. You can't get rid of it. It hangs out with you forever. But what you can do is create new neural pathways that become more alive and vibrant, are the more common or default language, right? So like if I'm a penis owner and the way I bait is really fast and hard, and it's fine. I have an orgasm in 3 minutes. It's cool. The orgasm feels so, but like, hey, nice release. But I want more of that like full-bodied sensation orgasm. My advice to that person would be to practice masturbating, meaning self-pleasuring, slowly and softly, and as is the shameless sex motto, going slower than slow and slower than that, because whatever you think is slow probably isn't that slow, so slow it down even more. And you might not orgasm right away, but what you'll probably discover is more sensation and more presence, and if you do have an orgasm, probably a bigger, more full-bodied orgasm. So this is something that you can practice. This is with the brain being your largest sex organ. Same thing with vibrator. If you think you're hooked on the vibrator, it's the only way you can orgasm. You just start practicing in other ways. Either take a break with your vibrator, or we talked about this on with Dr. Willow Brown and Leah Piper on their podcast. But the other thing would be you're using a sex toy, but the minute you feel like you're about to have an orgasm, you take it away, and then you use hands, and then you do this back and forth thing to kind of like connect the two to each other. And you might not have the orgasm right away. Going slow and soft in the cock that's not used to slow and soft might be frustrating at first, but for most people who have tried this, it's highly rewarding. And same with the vibrator practice. So
question, is there a thing as too much masturbation, or is there a healthy level of masturbation?
Like addiction, masturbation
exactly.
Addiction?
So we should kind of decipher between those pieces, because there is such a thing when things become, and they're getting in the way of school, work, driving, maybe
everyday life
and you're not getting things done because you're baiting.
Yeah.
That might be a time to take a break from the frequency and just check in. However, a healthy masturbation practice, there is not a specific, according to the International Society for Sexual Medicine, actually, they say there is no normal amount that or frequency that you can masturbate.
Everyone's different.
Right. However, if it is getting in the way of your negatively affecting your life, which you can make your own decisions about what that looks like, then you may want to take a look at that. But for the most part, fade away.
If you're masturbating 5 times a day and you still are getting all of your work done, it's not affecting your relationships with other people, it's not harming your body, your health is good and strong, everything feels full and alive and vibrant, and it feels like it fits in or complements all of that, you do you. And if you're doing that and it feels like one or all or many of those aspects are either at risk or kind of a little fucked or like fully being affected by this, like I'm not going to go to work today because I'm going to masturbate. I'm going to work late today because I'm going to masturbate. I'm not going to connect with my partner because I'd rather just go masturbate instead of talking to them about connecting, which is fine because it's okay. You deserve to masturbate even if you don't want to fuck your partner. That's cool too. And if you're seeing affect relationships, your work, your everyday life, and your self-care and your well-being in one or multiple ways, that might be something to look at. We're not doctors, we're not licensed therapists, so we are not going to talk on the concept of addiction as other professionals can do. But I think that as long as you have some sort of awareness of how this is fitting into your life, from 1 time a day to 5 times a day to once a month to 30 times a month, as long as it feels like it's fulfilling your life in a way and complementing your life, you do you.
You think, okay, remember that movie, Something About Mary?
Yeah.
And
with the jizz in the hair?
Well, yes. And the dude was like, you gotta flog the dolphin before you go
the
out.
Date, yeah.
So any advice to give to people that think that they should or should not masturbate before they're going out with someone for the first time? Or is there a reason to abstain from masturbation that would be beneficial?
I would say for people who are still working on their ejaculatory control and have fear that they might ejaculate before they like to, this is what a lot of people call premature ejaculation, but we don't use those terms, meaning it's just harder for you to control. If they ejaculate beforehand at some point in the day, it might increase the chances of more duration, more time in the sexual experience. And I'd still look at that as like, how can I work on my ejaculatory control issues, as opposed to just your tool, your Band-Aid being masturbating before your date. And then also, I mean, for me sometimes, so that's something like first date things. For me, like honestly, if I were to masturbate before a first date with someone, I'd show up all shiny and glorious. It'd be like, hello, I'm so alive. Or sometimes when my partner comes over, so this isn't the first date, but I might masturbate before they come over and I'm more, alive, aroused, and also like maybe even more inclined to play or just be connected. So,
does semen make a good mousse?
Semen makes a fantastic mousse. Please never put it in my fucking hair. Anyone that I ever have sex with.
Never seen Something About Mary, you would know what we're talking about.
Or my eye.
No
face.
Hilarious.
I'm not into no face, no hair, no eye, but it made a really great. The bangs are great.
The bangs were great.
Bangs are great. I feel like it was like glue. Okay, so some other references to how to up your masturbation game. One is an episode that we just recorded actually today on this exact sweaty day, but it was released in June of this year, 2022. It's episode 282 with Mike Mantell, and it's about masturbation, deepening your masturbation practice, and also how to spice up your sex life through deepening your masturbation practice. Also, April, what's the other one that you want to reference?
It's number 224, how to have great sex with yourself. And we met with August, and I love the name August because I have a month name too. And she's the host of the Girl Boner podcast, and it's how to have great sex with yourself. So check that one out too. It was a really, really fun episode.
Yeah, baiting. More on baiting. Bait.
Okay, let's talk about toys. That's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Toys. All right. Toy time. Okay, I'm smacking the couch because I'm so excited about sex toys.
Always remember, anything that we talk about, we really do. We have tried. Because our toy drawers
We're picky.
full. And we are picky. and there are toys that I try that I'm like, I don't like. And then you like some of them that I don't like, and vice versa. And anything that we talk about and we love, we make sure that it's on purepleasureshop.com.
Yes.
So always go to purepleasureshop.com for any of the sites. Awesome. And you can see shameless sex pics, and you better know the coupon code. But now, if you don't, we're going to quiz you later.
It's shameless sex. You get 15% off. Oh, but I'm just reminding them. Okay. And yes, we have a category about our favorite toys on there. So, okay. So let's see. So we want to talk about masturbation toys for all bits, right? And so we're going to kind of come from a perspective of what we know about toys in general, as well as our personal preferences. So we'll speak to not only what we like, but what we've heard other people would like. Would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
I mean, look, this is a toy that I reference every fucking
April's
episode.
on it.
I will say, however, your mom sent me the mini magic wand.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's rechargeable. And I have changed over, and I wasn't convinced that it would do the job that it was supposed to. If you don't know what the magic wand is, it looks like a back massager. It used to be from Hitachi. They no longer wanted to have a participation in the magic wands now.
They still make dishwashers, though.
They do. They make other things too. And so magic wand has been my go-to product forever, and it's quite large, and it's not the most, when you're in a sexual situation with partner play, it's not super...
it's huge.
It's massive. So it's just it's not easy to maneuver.
And it's strong. Its speeds are strong and stronger.
Exactly. And so the mini one, love it. It's awesome, and it's rechargeable, and it's maybe a quarter of the size.
Yeah.
And that's my new favorite, and it didn't come out that long ago. It's only a few months ago. And so that is going to be my topic, of course, because I always talk about the magic wand. I do have another one, but you go next.
All right. So I agree with her, because I also just started using the mini magic wand. The regular magic wand was a little too much for me.
I thought that would be too much for you. You like the mini one.
Yeah. It's just like a slight it has like medium, strong, and stronger instead of strong and stronger. So it offers a little more variety, and so I can play with that, and I like the size of it. I personally love air suction technology. So vibrators that feel like they are both suctioning and vibrating at the same time. They're made by companies called Satisfyer or Womanizer. Again, all at Pure Pleasure. And for me, they don't overstimulate me. They're powerful, but they don't overstimulate me, and I feel like I can have multiple orgasms with them. Whereas sometimes if I use other vibrators, I feel like they can I get that one orgasm, and then my clit's like, don't put that thing anywhere near me. But that's with stronger things. So here's the thing about vibrators. You have lighter, more buzzy vibrators, and so more like light to medium. Yeah. And then you have more like thuddy, like thunder vibrators. And, so the magic wand, I would say, is in the mini too. And the ones I like are kind of more like thunder. They have this deeper kind of frequency in the way that they're at least externally penetrating the body, meaning they're just touching my skin. And that's what my body likes, and April's likes too, but just we like different toys. And for some people, though, they want lighter toys. They want something or smaller toys, or things that aren't super intense. And so in that sense, a couple
bullet vibes.
Yeah, bullet vibes are
awesome.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah. So one recommendation.
Burning Man used to have a bullet vibrating.
Oh my God, I still have that thing.
Remember?
But none of the vibrators actually. I mean, people are so disappointed they try to touch it. It looked like one of those like gun things that you'd wear with like a whole bunch of bullets, like a gun
ammunition.
Vest. Yeah,
vest?
Ammunition thing. Yeah, I don't know about guns, but you know what I'm talking about. But they are mini vibrators that I got from a vibrator company, but none of them worked. But some recommendations for smaller toys or especially if you're wanting to play with medium to light vibrations, or like couples play especially, but also just solo play, because some people want smaller toys we're talking about external vulva again. I would recommend the WeVibe Touch X is a fantastic toy. They've upgraded the original WeVibe Touch, so it's WeVibe Touch X. Also, I love the Hot Octopus Digit. I love a thing that you can wear on your fingers and not have to hold, and wherever you put your hand, you have vibrations. And I can put that on balls, I can put it on nipples, I can put it on a cock, on a pussy, all the places, and it's fantastic.
And we've been sold out, and we finally have more stock.
Thank God.
That toy is awesome. Also, I think when it comes to if you want something external, if you do like light vibration, the Fun Factory makes that little finger vibe too that you can slide on, and it has lighter vibration. I actually don't know the name of it, but I just saw it the other day, and it's sexy. And I think if Pure Pleasure doesn't have it, you will get it because it's awesome. I thought I just saw it on your site. Fuck, what is it called? I'm going to find it. But I felt the vibration at the last trade shows, and I was like, I need this.
Well, she finds the name, and if not, we'll add it to Pure Pleasure.
Okay, time for a quick break. This podcast is free to you because of our amazing sponsors like Uberlube. Uberlube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that can enhance your sex and intimacy. Uberlube's unique formula is velvety, long-lasting, with no flavor or scent, and it feels absolutely incredible on the body. There are thousands of doctors recommending Uberlube to their patients because it's less likely to throw off your pH than most other lubes. So whether you want to make your hot sex even hotter, or you want to prevent dryness, take our advice and check out our favorite go-to, Uberlube.
Uberlube isn't just for sex. I use it for massage, to tame my frizzy hair, to prevent chafing, even for oral sex sessions. I love how it comes in a beautiful bottle with a pump top for easy access, appearing more like a cosmetic product so you can leave it on your nightstand shamelessly. Uberlube is without a doubt my favorite lube, and countless listeners agree, often stating, "We never knew lube could be this good." To learn why we think it's the best lube on the planet, check out uberlube.com and use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com. Use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. This podcast was also made possible by OMGYes.com. OMGYes combines scientific research of real vulva owners so you can learn shame-free techniques on how to pleasure the pussy. OMGYes studied 20,000 plus people of all ages and turned the research into animated modules, short videos, and beautiful infographics that are tasteful and easy to understand. Whether you want to learn about external pleasure, internal stimulation, or techniques with toys, OMGYes can help you master vulva pleasure. Let me tell you, I've been recommending OMGYes to my clients for years, and it's been changing their lives because knowledge really can activate your pleasure power.
OMGYes is for anyone who cares about vulva pleasure and wants to take it to the next level. OMGYes can help you become a sexual strategist by equipping you with the tools you need to unlock your pleasure potential. Plus, your OMGYes purchase helps fund more pleasure research. OMG, that's great! Only pay once, and these techniques are yours forever. That's right, this is not a subscription service, and you don't need to download a thing. So go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off when you purchase any OMGYes season. Again, go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off right now. Time to pursue your pleasure. And now, back to the show.
Now let's talk about
penises.
Oh, well, it was to say internal masturbation too, but then we'll go to penises. Internal masturbation. So, fun fact, everyone, for vulva owners, most of your nerve endings for most people are external. So, the clitoris is a powerhouse of pleasure, meaning it has about 8,000 approximately nerve endings. So, most of it is all external area. And it is a wishbone, meaning it's not just what you see. It has a shaft, legs. So, all the vulva, the outer labia, inner labia, the clitoris, all of that is clitoral tissue, erectile tissue, orgasmic tissue. So that's why a lot of the toys we talk about are gauged towards stimulating that part of the body. In fact, that's when a lot of vulva owners, how they have their orgasms is from sex that actually accesses that part of their body. When it comes to internal stimulation, there's the nerve endings within the first inch. Of course, you still have nerve endings there, and you have nerve endings internally for in vaginal canals, but there's not as much as deeper and deeper in the vaginal canal. And now around the cervix, so you have a ton. So if you want to explore with some internal stuff, most people generally are either wanting to explore with something that can kind of do like a curvature up towards the G-spot G area, or have that same curvature and a clitoral stimulation ability at the same time. And my recommendations for those would be the Curve by Hot Octopus with a K, Curve. It has two different motors. One, so it's curved up, and so it's an internal vibrator. It has two motors, but the more powerful motor is actually around your vaginal opening and clitoris, which is exactly where it should be. And you get one on the G-spot G area.
And it has a squishy head.
It feels good. And it's a beautiful toy.
Which is great on the G-spot. That Fun Factory toy is called the B1.
B1.
Yes.
B1. Well, if it's not Pure Pleasure, we will add that. And I have yet to see this one.
It's cool.
We're going to a trade show soon, so I'll finally get to see it.
You'll like it. And I love the Curve as well because we were on a panel to help figure out how to position those motors. So I'm happy that you agree.
You're part of creating that. Well, the other one I was going to say is the Miss B, but also by Fun Factory. You just said B1, Miss B.
But it looks like bi because it's BI, but it's Miss B.
Miss Bi, yeah, BI. For folks who want to experiment with maybe some internal G-spot, G area, and simultaneous clitoral stimulation at the same time.
We should talk about the WeVibe too, but everybody always asks about WeVibe because
that's like less. We're talking about baiting, though.
We are talking about baiting, but if for some reason you come across the WeVibe, that is a product that you could masturbate with.
Grind against it.
You could, and it's kind of a clip-on, and it sits inside the vaginal canal and then outside. So if you're penetrated by a penis, it works for both people to feel. It's not my personal favorite; it never has been, but people love it.
People love it.
But they make this thing called the Moxie.
Oh yeah, the panty
thing is dope.
Yeah.
And I just met a penis owner that uses it. It was a buyer at the trade show.
They put it in their undies?
Yes. And he said he was like...
Is he vibrating at trade shows, like walking around?
I don't know. I didn't ask him if he was vibrating, but he said that he actually will use it with his partner and turn it on just when they're out and about. And it was interesting because it basically you can magnetize it to anywhere on like clothing.
Yeah, it's a magnet. Yeah.
It's a magnet.
Yeah.
So you can, and it has like this shape that is pretty ergonomic to any body type. So it's not just for
be on the
panties.
The taint. It could be on your asshole.
That's what he said.
Maybe
he put it on the taint. And I don't remember exactly how to describe it. I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah.
But I thought it was awesome because I always thought of the Moxie as a panty vibe. But that one's cool because it has a remote. So if you do go out with your partner, you can be like, hey,
zap across the trade show floor.
And I think it has an app too.
Yeah. I think most of them are Bluetooth now. Well, not most, but that by WeVibe at least that one is. Okay, cock toys. So for penis play.
Okay, so obviously for a long time, most penis toys, and this is why I love Hot Octopus, not because I have worked with them. I chose them specifically because I love what they do. But for a long time, penis owners, they only had like the quote unquote pocket pussies to masturbate with, right? And a lot of them, they looked like butts, mouths, vaginas, and you could still get fleshlights and things like that you stick your hard cock in.
And if that's your jam, that's your jam.
And that's your jam, cool. And that's all good. But now there's all these amazing sex tech toys for penises,
and you had
vibrators.
You had to be hard to use those.
You did,
if you have a soft cock, it's pretty hard to put it in the soft thing. So now, what April's talking about, you can be soft or hard, which is a newer technology.
Well, and Hot Octopus we patented this technology, and it's any pulse products. There's 5 different ones. One is interactive, even because we are ready for the metaverse. It's coming.
Give it.
And you can use this product soft, semi-erect, totally erect. And the cool thing about it has this oscillating pulse plate, so you can put it on. And let's say you want to have multiple orgasms and you're a penis owner. You can have sex with your partner and then throw on the pulse solo or pulse duo, have your cock get hard again, because oscillation is actually medically proven to help stimulate blood flow, which helps you involuntarily ejaculate and or have an erection. So you can throw that on and have round 2 or 3 or 4, great for edging, and it can be used completely statically. What does that mean? You don't have to move. So if you don't want to do the old primal caveman,
I just want to hang out and lay there.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Yes, you can throw that on, and you could also use it as a stroker. So any of those, the reason that we bring up the Hot Octopus products pretty regularly, because for penis owners, there's nothing else like those products on the market. So any pulse toys by Hot Octopus. Another cool one that I've heard, well, I mean, for a masturbator, they have the Manta that people apparently
Fun
like.
Factory.
Yes,
yeah, I've seen it and I've felt it before. I don't have a cock, obviously.
I don't either.
It seems like so it's different technology, right? The Hot Octopus Pulse has this like pulsator that goes in and out. Like think of like your electric toothbrush or like a brrrr thing. And the Manta to me is more like a actual vibrator that your cock hangs out in.
It has a handle though, so it's not as ergonomic in my opinion. There's another one that just came out that I am curious about. I'm not endorsing this. I'm just curious because you love Air Pulse tech so much, and it's an Air Pulse product that's called the Arcwave.
Yes.
That's for the penis.
So
I don't know about it.
I have heard mixed reviews.
Okay.
So I've heard mixed reviews on this. I have had, because I've had one person tell me they absolutely loved it, and I've had one person told me it was too intense and felt actually painful.
I did hear someone tell me that it hurt them.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not saying go and buy that one because I don't know. I don't have a penis, but Air Pulse technology is interesting. I can't use the oscillating pulse plate tech of our products, but the reviews for all of the Pulse products that we make are fucking phenomenal.
I mean, I've never heard anyone say they got hurt by the solo hot octopus before.
No.
Or any of the ones that we've named before. Now, there are other, in terms of the clitorati, there are other Pulse technology toys. I won't say the brands on here, but the ones, so we said Satisfy and Womanizer, I've yet to hear anyone being hurt by them, like the suction being too much. There is a particular brand that I have heard of that has a suctioning technology that actually injured at least one or two people.
A Volvo owner?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh, shit. So you have to be careful.
Yes. And be careful, go lightly, and don't be afraid, but like we're telling you the things that we actually have knowledge about or have tried or have like we can stand by. And so the Arcwave, I'm a little going to hang out on the edge about that one because
with the Pulse products, I give them to all of my friends and they always give me feedback, and my partners I've used them with, so I know about Hot Octopus Pulse products. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And if we are coming out with something that will be for vulvas soon.
At Pure Pleasure, also, we sell sex toys. My mom sells sex toys, so we get feedback from people like, this one was great, this one was whatever, this one I did not like, this one hurt me, or whatever, which that's why we know some of these things, and I also know it from outside information too. So, and this isn't just about Pure Pleasure. We're just speaking to various options for self-pleasure, but just remember, everyone, as you explore with sex toys, and I want to just say one thing about anal after this, as you explore sex toys, remember, if it feels like you're using a sex toy and all of a sudden this is the only way you can get off and you can't get off to other ways, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is just conditioned, and you can work on this. We named some ways before this conversation earlier on in this episode, and if you have more questions about that, we have plenty of episodes on that. But the whole thing of like, if I use a sex toy, it's going to fuck me up is bullshit.
And just take a break.
Yeah, or also just everything in moderation. So anal, okay, I want to say one thing about anal, and we'll see what you have to say about it. So anal masturbation. So anal self-pleasure. So you're like hanging out with yourself, you're in self-pleasure anally. I mean, everyone has an ass, first of all, the universal orifice. There's a lot of nerve endings on the anus, the anus, about as many as your lips, actually. Mm-hmm. When you go into the anal canal, there are nerve endings there too. And then when you go further in, so it opens up into the abyss of rectum, you have less nerve endings. So this is generally why things like fingers, licking, or vibrations feel nice in the anus, but you don't really feel them inside. You always want your anal toy to be anal safe, like April was saying the thermometer is not necessarily anal safe, but you want it to have a base, basically. I'm not even going to talk about toys for this. What I would say is, for a lot of the times that I've added in my own masturbation play or talked to other people about masturbation when anal's been on it or included into it, it was included alongside something. So often they were playing with their own ass with a toy, anal safe toy, or a finger or something, and stroking their cock or rubbing their clit or touching their G-spot G area or something, or using a vibrator on their clit or something. And plenty of people just explore their asses as its own exploration. But if you explore your ass as a masturbation thing and you don't really feel much, just add other touch and stimulation to these other parts of your body that work for you.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that. We just recorded that episode with Kenneth Play.
Oh, yeah.
About anal. It's not even 101 or any. It's I don't know what the title is. Did it come out yet? Or
no, that is coming.
Oh, it'll be in August.
That's coming. No, I think that's actually coming out the next week from when this is released.
Oh,
because we record everything that we're recording. Everyone, we're in a whole different dimension right now, and so I'm pretty sure that when this episode goes out, that episode will be the week after with Can Play, all about anal, right before Anal August starts.
And the reason why I bring it up is because he does a great job of explaining so much about the ass.
He's the best.
He is so good, and he also has a book, but he just does a phenomenal job. So reference that episode, Kenneth Play. He's been on the show a couple of times, and yeah, I wanted to give him a shout out.
And we're going to wrap it up before we end this episode with mutual masturbation. So I know we're talking about bait and masturbation, solo play, solo sex, self-pleasure, but also, just so y'all know, once you understand your body and you get your bait game down, it's kind of hot to bait in front of your partner, either if you're into it, either with them watching you. One, it's just hot. It can be. Everyone's different. Sometimes people like spotlight. It's super scary. But for them, it could be hot. It could be hot for you to be watched if that's your jam, if you're a voyeur, exhibitionist, whatever. Also, they can learn how you like to pleasure yourself. So say you know your technique with your hands or your sex toy and you're doing that in front of them. You're teaching them if they pay attention. And you can do this at the same time where they're doing the same thing too, and you're watching each other, but also getting off at the same time, can be super fucking hot.
I also, for me, I like to just be side by side so it doesn't feel like I'm being watched. And sometimes I'll just use a toy.
Like your back's away from you? So
no, facing each other, but just laying down. It's not like, when I think about watching, I think
like someone in the corner watching you.
Yes, or like you on the couch with me right now because we're facing each other, and I'm like, I'd be masturbating. I'd be like wildly uncomfortable if that was me in a situation. So when I'm mutually masturbating, I'm like, just touch me while I use my sex toy.
Yeah.
And he's next to me, and that feels really safe and comfortable and fun. And then I also like a little bit of touch. And I think the mutual part doesn't have to be watching each other intensely if you don't want it to be. If you want it to be
connected.
Awesome. Yeah. It's just like
the mutual part it depends. If you're trying to learn about what your partner likes, then that's one thing. Then you'd be paying attention. If you're just like trying to be aroused, and just pay attention to the whole scenario. But if you're like, okay, what are they doing? They're touching like that. Okay, cool. Okay, little. Okay, so I see the speed and the tempo and the location. Oh, I'm looking at April's genitals right now, but she has shorts on.
I think one last piece, and I believe we may have referenced it, but if you are a vulva owner out there and you aren't sure all the ways that you can please yourself, or you're a vulva owning lover, you can go to OMGS.
Yep.
They have a shit ton of modules.
This will be the third time we reference it in this
I know,
episode,
but
because we're obsessed with it.
Because it's so good, and
it's amazing.
You might not have. People have said, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do with my hands? And now there's 3 seasons.
The hope is that there might be penis seasons coming out. I don't know.
But our job is to talk about all the tools. That's why we are here. We're talking about the tools. We don't get to try every single tool out there. We will slowly. We're getting older. We're trying the tools,
and we'll tell you the tools we don't like.
Yes, we will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of something that I tried that I don't like. Oh, well, I didn't want to say the name of the brand that had hurt someone, only because there's only 2 accounts that I heard of people actually being hurt, and that same toy my mom loves. So that's an interesting. She's like, well, that's so interesting. I love that toy.
But that's the thing. I personally, with AirPulse technology,
everyone's different.
Right now, I also will not limit myself and say that it would never work for me, because bodies change all the time, and I can try that AirPulse tech toy next month, and it might be the best thing I've ever tried. So Don't give up. If you have tried something in the past and you haven't liked it, or you stopped liking something that you usually like, and go back.
With sex toys, also, when they come in multiple speeds, start on the lightest one, go slow. Don't dive right into like the crazy, most intense speed. Just to start, like, go with a slow intention of learning and discovering, and see what happens.
This is fun. We never usually do
the Chip and Dip show
just with you and I. And I love you.
I love you, Chip.
And I love all of you Shameless Sex listeners out there. Thank you for being part of the Shameless Sex revolution, for supporting us. And if you haven't done so, I invite you, welcome you to go and give us 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify. It helps more people find the sex toys of their dreams and all the tools that we have to offer the world. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Ciao for now.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com, and for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.